Hello class, let's talk about the test 3.3 review. During this video I'm going to go over each of the questions in our test review. So here we go, let's talk about number 1 and number 2. It says Mr. Roark made the scatter plot below to show the relationship between his students' test scores in math and science. So question number 1, which best describes the trend shown in the scatter plot? Now this one right here, what we're looking for, we've got 3 types of trends. We've got as the X value increases, the Y value increases. That would be known as a positive trend. A negative trend, as the X value increases, the Y value decreases. That would be a negative trend. No trend means it's all over the place. Well, when you look at this information right here, you're looking at, there is a general trend. If I were to put a line like that right there going through the middle of the data, this is called our trend line. Okay, we're looking at it's as the test scores increase on math, so do the science test scores. It's not a real strong positive relationship, but it is a positive relationship. So for number 1, the answer is A. So with that in mind then, number 2 says, which statement best describes the relationship shown in Mr. Roark's scatter plot? So F, there appears to be no relationship. Well, we know that's not true because there is a relationship. As the math test scores increase, the science scores also increase. Well, math scores increase, science scores increase. H, math test scores increase, science scores decrease. No, that's not it. As math scores increase, science scores tend to stay the same. No, that's not either. So the correct answer is G. As one increases, so does the other. Okay, so let's look at question 3 and 4. At the mall, Barrett surveyed 30 people of varying ages to determine how many DVDs they purchased last year. Barrett compiled his results and displayed them in a scatter plot shown below. So in this one, when you look at it, tends to be, it looks like going downhill some. As age increases, the number of DVDs people buy decreases. So number 3, which statement best describes the relationship shown in Barrett's scatter plot? There is no relationship. Well, no, it does appear that there is a relationship, not a real strong one, but there does appear to be one. As age decreases, the number of DVDs purchased also decreases. Well, in this one, age is increasing, not decreasing. Okay, so that one's out. C, as age increases, the number of DVD purchases increases. So as we go across on the X, do my purchases increase or do they go down? They go down, so that means the answer is D. As age increases, the number of DVDs purchased decreased. So which best describes the trend shown in the scatter plot? Well, as you see, it's going downhill for the most part, so that means it's a negative trend. One more question about a scatter plot then. Okay, students in science class investigate how speed of sound changes with the air temperature outside. The data are shown in the scatter plot. So based on the scatter plot, what is the best prediction of the speed of sound when the air temperature is 50 degrees Celsius? So this one does appear to be going uphill. So the best way to determine an answer or a prediction based on 50, because we got 10, 20, 30, 40, so 50 would be right here, okay, is to actually draw the trend line in. So if we were to look at this, the line appears to be going just like that right there. So if we do that, we look at our Y scale, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. This next one should be 360. So if we look at that, the correct answer then should be H, approximately 360 milliseconds. Okay, moving on to the next one. Now we're talking about functions. And we know in a function, the key is the X value in the coordinate. Okay, so it has to be unique. So it says, which set of ordered pairs models a function? So when we look at this one right here, we got 2, 7, 3. Uh-oh, here's a 2. So those 2's right there, rule that one out. So we got 5, 5. Well, automatically, those 2 rule it out, but we've got 5's all the way across, so that one's out as well. Negative 1/2, positive 1/2, negative 1/2. Okay, so here is a duplicate, and then another duplicate. So that one's out. So negative 10, negative 20, negative 30, negative 40. This one is the correct one because your X value must be unique in order for it to be a function. Okay, what about in a graph? Now in a graph, what we're looking for is a vertical line test. So which graph does not represent Y as a function of X? So in other words, which one is not a function? Okay, so in this one right here, if I were to draw my vertical line, I'm going to hit that graph 2 times. That one is not a function. Okay, G, no matter where I drop a line, I will only hit a graph one time, or hit the graph one time, okay? Over here, same thing. No matter how many times, how many vertical lines I drop, it's still going to be a function. This one, the same thing. Still passes the vertical line test. So which one is not a function? F is not a function. In a mapping, we know that the x value can only be mapped to one y value, or input to output. So which function or which model is not a function? So this one, each one of these x values maps to only one y value. Each one of these x values, they can have the same y value. They just can't have the same x value going to two different points. So this one is a function. Okay, now C, this 2, it's got 2, -2, 2, -1, 2, 0. So this x value is appearing more than one time within our coordinates. So this one is the one that is incorrect. Okay? And then D right here, each one maps to the same one, so this is a function. So the one that's not a function is C. Okay, when you're looking at B right here, B kind of looks like this one right here, where I'm using, if I use let's see, looking at it again, like B right here, if I'm using, this one would be -2, 1, -1, 1, 0, 1. We've had several of those where we've had the same y value, but it doesn't matter. It's the x value that counts. Okay. Now we're looking at proportional, non-proportional. Okay, proportional, non-proportional, remember, you must have a line, and it must have a y-intercept of 0. Okay, so when you're looking at situations, you're looking at, find a situation that is only multiplying or dividing, no add, subtract. So which situation represents a proportional relationship? So we look at F, the cost of purchasing a basket of oranges for $1.30 per pound plus $5 for the basket. So that right there rules this one out. It's not proportional because it's got the +5. The cost of purchasing peaches for $7 per box of peaches with a delivery charge of $3. So this delivery charge means I'm adding $3 to it. So that's not proportional. The cost of purchasing grapefruit for $1.80 per pound. Am I adding or subtracting anything? No. So that one is a proportional relationship. The cost of purchasing apples for $1.75 per pound plus a shipping fee. So that shipping fee is what rules this one out. So H is the proportional relationship. Now to some questions where you actually have to do some work. Okay, it says, suppose y varies directly as x. If y is equal to 8 when x is 4, find y when x is 48. So this is the one where we're using the formula. Y is equal to kx, and you have to find the constant of proportionality, the k value, in order for you to find the missing piece. So in this kind of a problem, the first thing you do is you write the formula down. Y is equal to kx, and you have to find k. So we use the y and x value in the problem that are together to find our k. So I'm going to take this y value here and I'm going to substitute it in for y. Equals, I don't know k, so I'm going to leave it blank, times my x value of 4. Okay, so now I solve for k. So I divide this side by 4, divide this side by 4. That tells me that k is equal to 2. Okay, so it has a constant of proportionality of 2. Right? So what we've got to do then is I now have to find my, it says find y when x is 48. Okay, so I'm going to use the formula again. Y is equal to kx. So I'm going to substitute in my k value for k and my x value for 48. So y is equal to k of 2 times 48. Okay, so that tells me that when x is 48, my y is going to be, well, I multiply these two together, and I get 96. So I'm looking for my answer. My answer is H. Number 11, we're going to do the same thing again. Okay, so we do our y is equal to kx. Okay, and this one right here, I know a y value, I know an x value. So I use those to find k. So y is 9 equals k times x is -3. So I divide both sides by -3. And I end up with k equaling -3. So now I use this k value, -3, and my y value to find x. So I write the formula again. Y is equal to kx. Well, y is -27. K is -3. And I'm looking for the x. So now to find that x, I divide both sides by -3. And I get x equaling, well, negative 27 divided by negative 3 gives me positive 9. So my correct answer is B. Okay, so that's direct variation. Now the last two types of questions we have are Pythagorean theorem problems. So in number 12, a right triangle below is formed by joining 3 squares at their vertices. So anytime you have a picture like this, I need you thinking Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so here is the triangle that we are looking at. Okay, it says what's the value of the side length y for the smallest square? So I'm trying to find out what is this value right here. Now what you have to look at is you got to pay close attention to what's been given to you. Well, this one says in this square it's 13 on this side. Now if it's a square, all the sides are 13. So this side length then is 13. Now it gives you this 144 millimeters squared. Well, that is an area, so how did I get an area? Well, if I get an area of 144, I take the square root of that, or what number times itself will give me 144, and that tells me that the side lengths of this square are 12. Okay, so with that in mind, now that I know my side lengths, I now can find my missing piece here. So we write a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So I know my a and I know my c, and I'm looking for a b. So 12 squared plus b squared is equal to 13 squared. So that would be 144 plus b squared is equal to 169 when you square each of those numbers. Okay, you subtract 144 from this side. So you subtract 144 from this side to get the b by itself. And I end up with b squared is equal to, and 69 minus 144 is 25. Now, I don't want b squared, I want b. So I take the square root of b squared and I get b is equal to 5, in this case, millimeters. So the correct answer is F. One last question. Okay, now this one's kind of a visual question. It says, Tawanda purchased a rectangular mirror that has a diagonal of 25 inches and a height of 15 inches. What is the perimeter of the mirror? So the first thing I would do is I would draw the shape. Right? So it says that it has a height of 15 inches and it has a diagonal of 25 inches. Okay? And what I want to know is what's the perimeter? So what I need to know then is what is this side? Okay, well, hopefully you realize that that is a right triangle, and I know my A and I know my C. So what we're going to do is we're going to use those values to find B. So I write A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So A squared is 15 squared plus B squared, I don't know that. And then I know my C is 25, so I square it. So I do my math, and I end up with 225 plus b squared is equal to 625 when you multiply those out. 15 times 15 and 25 times 25. So I get rid of my 225 on both sides, and I end up with b squared is equal to 400. So we take the square root of b squared, and we find out that b is equal to 20. Now don't be fooled with that, because that answer is here. Okay, but what am I looking for in this problem? I want to know what is the perimeter of this particular rectangle. Okay, so if I know x is 20 inches, I need to find its perimeter, so I need the distance around it. So 15 plus 20 is 35, plus another 15, 35, 45, 50, plus 20 will give me 70 inches. So the perimeter of this rectangle is actually 70 inches. So if you can do all of the information that's found on this test review, then you can do all the information on the test. So study hard and make me proud. Until next time.